We are live.
Awesome. Love it. Cool. I see a little uploading sign. That yes, that's good. This will be recorded, right? I think we will
This
have that many.
is, yes, this is going
Okay.
to be recorded. I'm seeing a little error
Hmm.
on YouTube. Okay, but that's okay. We're on LinkedIn.
Hmm. Yep.
And just give me one moment. Just gonna check and see what there is an error.
Okay.
I'm just gonna write to Lizelle.
Sure. I mean,
Oh, she's saying all is good. Okay.
cool.
Okay, great.
Love it. Love
So
it.
let's get started.
Definitely, Shira. Let's do it. I guess I should do something like welcome everyone type of message. But yeah, we are keeping things casual, informal over here, just trying to get as practical as possible. So, welcome everyone. As you may or may not know me, my name is Ilya. I'm the head of revenue over here at HeyReach. Uh, Obviously, we've put this webinar together with Shira from SmartReach just because we've seen, a lot of things going on their end. So I'm going to let Shira introduce a little bit what they've been working on lately, and yeah, how is this applicable?
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Ilya. So I am Shira. I am the CEO of SSC Digital, which owns SmartReach AI. And SmartReach AI is a tool that enables us to, first of all, build a lead list and find leads based on a specific criteria and different filters, enrich those leads, and then find buyer behavior and intent signals that you can add as well to really find the best leads.
Mhm.
In addition, it allows you to hyper personalize your messaging on both email and LinkedIn.
Yeah,
And we have integrated and chosen HeyReach to integrate with. So all of our campaigns are run through HeyReach.
absolutely.
And yes,
Nice, great. Shira, when we last spoke, I think it was several months ago, and we also did a previous gig, like a webinar before that. You guys were actually focusing on the hyper personalization inside of the outbound messaging. But this time, I noticed, I obviously did the background check. You took a step forward and basically started just, yeah, beginning from the process of sourcing data, because I do believe like that's crucial in order to execute a great outbound campaign. So what actually made you just take this route?
okay, for sure. So we had many, I guess, users request this from us because they were finding, data in list building to be a huge challenge for them.
Mhm.
And in addition, we realized that very early on, as the industry shifted the last year or two, where things are much more difficult now, especially with AI. As much as I embrace AI and have built an AI tool, AI in general has definitely hurt us in the sense that there's so many AI messages being generated. It
Yeah.
gives more people access to sending messages, whether it's email or LinkedIn, and your inboxes are flooded with messages now.
Yeah.
So really cutting through the clutter has been a really big challenge, and we had to really pivot in order to get the results that we're used to getting and increase those results. And one of the ways we, realized very early on was building, a lead list that was quality over quantity, right? And really understanding, okay, who is really going to be interested just because they meet my ICP, just
Mm.
because they meet my ideal customer profile, that I know this industry, this size company, this country is going to work for me. How do I know that they're really in the market for
Okay.
my product or service? And once we were able to crack that, our HeyReach, LinkedIn results went through the roof. And when you combine that with, and I'll share that with you because I'm not just blowing smoke. I actually will show you my HeyReach
Please
campaign
shoot.
in a second. And once you've nailed that, and you have messaging that looks like you've spent time researching each
Mhm.
and every prospect. I was just on a call the other day And
Yep.
I love these calls. I need to record them and put them out there. I was on a call the other day where he said to me, listen, I get so many mails, but your mail really spoke to me. And why? Because he was a former gymnast and he had done some crazy record with his flips. And our message actually said, like, loving your, so, blown away by, your gymnastics record. We weren't even talking about anything professional. And it's
Yep.
like that just, and the subject line as well had that. And
Mm.
that really cut through the clutter. And he was like, and it got me on a call with you. So it's the combination that he was actually also a buyer behavior signal for us. He was hiring SDRs. So I knew that he was in growth mode. So the combination of that, with the hyper personalized messaging is what really makes the results skyrocket. And is really crucial in this industry and this day and age right now.
Absolutely, Shira. I cannot agree more with that because these days, like you can see the market shifting between people who just send out unsociated outreach over email, LinkedIn, and whatever channel it is out there, hoping that a higher volume will actually do the job for them, something that was working in the past. And on the other like side, you basically have these people who are hyper personalized, which are 0.1% of like just getting to understand the logic behind of it when it's the good time to actually reach out to someone. And in
Yeah.
between, you typically see these people, and I usually see them in my email inbox where you get, well, I saw that you posted this specific LinkedIn post, and I'm like, yes, I did. Does that mean that, not even that mean, like they are assuming that I need a specific product or a service, which is not the case. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is intent data is something that it's coming and it's here, obviously, and here to stay for the years to come. But the truth is, the proper utilization of the intent data is something that will drive great results over any outbound, really, and any channel. So that's why I actually signed up for this webinar because I'm like, well, listen, everyone is talking about AI and intent, but if this falls into the wrong hands, I mean, obviously, what are you doing? You're just scaling a failure, which should not be done in the first place. You're better off with manual messages rather than thinking of over prompting and over like not taking the right inputs to actually create the right outputs altogether. So yeah, bottom
Exactly.
line, it's a great intro. Intent data is here to stay. We all know that. You've done an amazing job, and I'm happy to see you share like what have you done and how that actually looks like. Because then the second question is, if we have intent data, how complicated it is to gather it, to find it, and to find what's relevant in specific events, and how to actually effectively utilize this in outbound campaigns. So let's take it from the top. Shira, what would you say like it's classified as intent data? Like a couple of examples, actually.
Yeah. I mean, and for me, there's different types of intent data, right? So the first type is really understanding, is this the right company for me, right? And that's very important intent data that can, let you know, for example, if
Hmm.
you have a certain number of website visits that you must have for your product to be relevant. We have a client, for example, that can only target customers with their e-commerce solution that have at least 100,000 visitors. Otherwise, their technology doesn't work. So first of all, using that research tool to understand, are they even my target audience?
Yeah.
Can I even sell to them? Are they the right company for me?
Yes.
And another one of those can also be they use a specific technology, right? So we can only sell, we have clients that say, like, we can only sell to companies that are using HubSpot, right? Because if they don't use HubSpot, our technology won't work. So
Yeah.
there's, the first step, and that's one type of intent data. Another one, just as an example, is we can only work with companies that have X number of Instagram followers because our technology is a social based technology,
Nice.
okay?
Nice.
Um, and that's one way that I like to kind of separate it. And the second is, how do I actually know that they're in the market for my product or service? And
Correct.
this is where it gets really, I guess I could say somewhat complex, but there's a lot of signals that can give you that answer.
Yes.
One of them, for example, could be, are they hiring? I mentioned that, a little earlier. So
Mhm.
for us as a lead generation company, right, knowing that they're hiring sales or SDRs shows me that they are in growth mode,
Yeah.
right? and that they're looking for expansion. And maybe my tool, Smart Reach AI, can help all their SDRs. It can complement what they're doing, right? It doesn't necessarily compete with what they're doing. Another one could be, maybe their department, uh, their sales department has grown by 50% over the last 3 months. That also shows me they're in tremendous growth mode, right? And therefore, they would be a really good one for me to reach out to. Another one could be that they're following your competitors on LinkedIn. Why would they be following one of your competitors if they weren't interested in your service, right? So there's a lot of different signals. And I like to kind of separate it into those two buckets. And then the third, bucket is, okay, now how do I create a message that's really going to talk about this growth and how my product or service can help them achieve their goals.
Absolutely. I mean, you did a great layout on this one because people tend to confuse all of these three things together at some point.
Yeah.
So I guess like the takeout from what you've said over here, it's first you begin with the pre-qualification, whether this is relevant in terms of like where they at combined with what I'm offering, whether it's a product or
Yeah.
it's a service, it's irrelevant
Exactly.
really at this point. So first step is actually pre-qualification based on whatever, based on whether they're a HubSpot user, whether they have website visitors, whatever it is, right? So that's your pre-qualification. You cannot skip to finding relevance before you actually execute on this step. Because if you go into a direction of let's find a company that expanded 50% in the whatever, like in the sales department, but then again, they don't match the initial criteria, which is they should have 100,000 website visitors. What's the
Right.
point in reaching out to this person?
Exactly. And then you have to just go through a process of qualifying them again and then realizing, wait, you just reached out to someone that you actually can't sell to. So
Yeah,
that's really important. And we have a lot of clients that I'm noticing that are really understanding this more and more in terms of, okay, we must have this criteria. And using traditional databases like Apollo, it's very hard to find all of this information. And so that's why I decided to build a tool that will give you everything at your fingertips, right? And we're really more of, like, I would say, an aggregator.
hmm,
We're aggregating, but because I've run a lead gen agency for 14 years, I was able to really design it in a way that makes it so easy and in a way that most SDRs and lead gen agencies and small businesses are thinking, so that it's basically click, click in order to just keep
nice.
enriching, and you don't need to take any courses on how to use it, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
and it's
that
all
takes us, sorry to cut you off, but that takes us to the second problem because
yeah,
on the emerging market of multiple offers about different tools who can do amazingly good, and everyone actually markets themselves like, okay, this is the one solution that you need for everything, which is typically not the case. You pretty much
yeah,
need to combine. Now you have this problem where it's okay, so I have a solution in place, but how this solution actually combines with everything that I want to do? And chances
right,
are it doesn't, right? So basically, you are stuck with uh, like a like a portion of everything that you need to be doing. And if you go into the second route, like taking tool number one, then tool number two, and tool number three, and combine them all together, now you have a different set of problems.
yeah,
And have in mind that this whole orchestration is actually where your whole outbound is, the success of your whole outbound actually underlines. So that's why having a one centralized place, one source of truth will always beat out compared to like, let's take multiple pieces and try to create one puzzle, of which we don't even know it will work on the end, right? So basically, yeah. So Shira, great that you've mentioned it because you truly created an aggregation of multiple tools that can actually combine pretty nicely. So I guess the best way to showcase this is just by sharing your screen, and let's cover like how do you actually create a segmentation, then how do you find the appropriate signal that can create relevance, and then we will move on to the next step was actually how do you effectively utilize this in an outbound campaign.
sure, absolutely. So let me go ahead, like you suggested. I'm going to share my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep, well good.
Oh, wonderful. So this is Smart Reach AI. The website is smartreachai.com. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, yeah, all good. I can hear you. I
Great.
just muted my mic.
Okay. And basically, what you do is there's three different modules. We have our smart data module, which is where you want to start. This is where you build your lead list and you enrich it. I'll show you how that works in a moment. And then we have smart mail for the email personalization, and smart link, which is where we're integrated with HeyReach to send your LinkedIn automated campaigns that are hyper personalized. But let's focus on the data today, and then we can go a little bit into smart link. So what you're going to do is on the company side, first of all, you can do that department head growth that I shared with you earlier. And you could really pick any department and you can go growth or decline. So that's a really great signal in and of itself. And then on the people side, you're going to first of all focus on your location. So I just chose the US. You're going to focus on your industries. We have a tremendous amount of industries. And as I mentioned, we're an aggregator. So we're pulling all of this from RocketReach. RocketReach is one of the top sources of data. I think between 95 to 98% accuracy. And we pull our phone numbers from another provider that's really, really accurate on the mobile phone number side. So we've done a lot of research on our own, picking the best providers that have the best data. And RocketReach updates their data on a daily basis. So it's really, really robust. If you also click on the industry side, you could see that we have a ton of sub industries inside each industry. You can include it, you can exclude it. But for the purpose of this demo, I just chose retail. And then on the occupation side, you could choose by the actual title. If you want the whole marketing department as an example, or if you just want it based on management level. Another really great signal that's built into this side is when they started their position. So it's always great as well if you want to do a campaign for someone that started their job in the last 6 months, 3 months. They're usually hungry for bringing something new to the company and
Oh, yeah.
showing them, and being a star. So that's another really great signal. Okay.
Yeah.
And then another great signal as well that we have built in here is skills. So let's say I just type in, marketing, it'll start dropping down different skills that I could choose from. So I want somebody that's a pro in digital marketing. It will pull that from their LinkedIn profile.
Nice.
Okay. And that also is a really great signal. Like, hey, I see you're a true expert in digital marketing, you know. And if you want to also pull their years of experience, I see you're a true expert and you've been in this space for 5 years,
Yeah.
at least 5 years. So that those are other signals that you can use. So now once you have your lead list, you just apply your filters, you run your lead list, very, very simple. There's some really great, cool things that I just want to show you that we had just talked about. So I'm just going to select one or two people right now, and I'm going to go over to the Smart Agent. The Smart Agent enables you to do research on each and every website
Mm-hmm.
without having to go individually to each website. So for example, if I want to know, because I'm doing retail, and I only want to target companies that are B2B, or let's say only B2C if it's retail. So I can simply run this quickly and it will review each and every website and it will tell me, okay, this one is B2C because it's not B2B, and this one is B2B, so I don't want to target them. Okay, and you could easily do this kind of research. And I just, showed you one example, but there's a lot of questions built in here. We have some clients that can only work with retailers that have 3-store locations. Another one that's really neat is that, let's say I want just a short description and I want to also hyper personalize my messaging by pulling in a description. So it will pull that from each and every one that okay, so you could see here, pulled in a description. Another one could be their pain points. So this is really, really powerful, which,
So
have two
basically,
international locations. Go ahead.
sorry, Shira. Basically, like you have integrated an agent who will actually do these things at scale on an assumption that you have created on a segmentation of a lead list, but now you're validating, meaning further enriching it with their source of truth. So
Exactly.
what a source of truth means? Like I know who I want to target, but is this actually presented on their website? So this is where
Exactly.
you use an agent to do this at scale, because if you do these things manually, well, obviously, like you'll be just looking at websites all day long.
Well,
So
that's what we used to do, by the way. We used to have about 3 years ago a manual team
okay.
that was doing this on a manual basis, and it was not scalable. So this is basically like, if you think about it, your market researcher, and it's so fast and it's all on one screen. And we're also adding next week that you can ask any question, and if it's able to find that information on their website, we're
Mhm.
also going to be asking things from LinkedIn as well. So like what was the person's last two posts? So it's going to go even deeper. But yeah, you can pull a really fast list this way just through the smart agents. And
You know,
that's
Shira,
before,
this
yeah.
reminds me of like every person who ever struggled with clay in terms of how do I set up, like, what's my next question, what's my next row over there, what's relevant. Like, it seems like, not seems like, but it is pretty much everything templatized and predefined right off the bat. And the reason I believe you are so confident in doing this is because your background experience. So this cannot
Exactly.
be done if you have just started off and did a couple of campaigns for a client. You have to have that background experience about what matters to companies.
For
So
sure.
yeah, for essentially, I see this one as for everyone knowing that there is a clay thing that they should be doing, but don't know how, and there is no time for the learning curve. Well, actually, I think that this whole thing replaces that with a bunch of clicks of a button, honestly.
Exactly. And that's it was exactly, I mean, we had another webinar with one of our other partners and someone wrote, "Oh, this is clay for dummies," you know? So the answer is yes, but we're going a little bit deeper on the social side as well. And it's easy, meaning you don't need to take any courses to figure out, like I have a very hard time understanding how to set everything up on different platforms like Clay. So this is really easy to just pull it all in. And as I mentioned to you earlier, you know, one of the signals that we talked about was website visits. You saw how quickly it just pulls it. We're integrated with SimilarWeb. One of the signals that Clay does not have, this is the only one that's actually not connected via API. It's through a company called Boomerang, is like we talked about your competitors' followers, okay? And I'll just showcase with you. So one of our other partners is SmartLead on the email side. We're integrated with them, and we did a webinar with them as well. And then I did a campaign on HeyReach using our company followers, where we actually pulled the company followers from SmartLead. And we started sending them a message. We just started this campaign, but just to share with you, we started sending them a hyper personalized message. We knew that they were smart lead. We knew that we integrated. So that was the signal, okay, that they are following smart lead. Okay, it doesn't mean for sure that they're a smart lead user, but it meant that we knew that they were interested in email campaigns and lead generation. And so you could see the results of this campaign that we just started. We have a 64.7% connection request, over 72% reply rate, and we booked 5 of these calls. Okay, so it's an incredible campaign. This is just a great example of quality over quantity in, you know, real results. This is coming from my profile.
Yeah.
I would also add as well, another thing that's really helped me is that I post almost daily. Okay, so I have a very active LinkedIn I have a very active LinkedIn profile, and that also contributes, I would say, as well.
Yeah, well, this is, I mean, one of the misconceptions that I oftentimes see is that you need to have hundreds of thousands of people to get to 5 meetings, right? Because that's what people were actually used to doing. Get data from Apollo, validate that from like a massive outreach campaign, just to end up to the same result while pissing 99.9% people off and just having a bunch of people to actually show up on a meeting, right? And
Exactly.
what basically you did, I don't even think that you worried whether out of those 5 meetings will people show up, because like you've triggered them to actually see because it's relevant. So at this point, this is where you prove a concept. You don't need scalability if you have relevance. And if you want
Exactly.
to expand this like on a bigger reach, well, it's easy to do it because like it's over there. The question is, do you have enough people to supply that whole chain of finding and reaching out to that prospect, handling responses through nurturing, and then getting them into the second step of the funnel, which is pretty much going to be presentation, showcase, and follow-ups, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I would also say, you know, we combined multiple signals as well. So one of the things that we pulled in was their problem solved. And when you're talking to them saying, "Hey, I see that you follow Smart Lead, so I know that you're sending email campaigns, right? And I know also that you're really focused on, you know, whatever the pain is, the problem is that you're focused on, we can help you accomplish that. We're already integrated with Smartly. This is what we would do for you." And that's why the results were just so fabulous, because we identified what their pain was. We did research on who they are. We came with a unique message for each and every person, right? And the combination of those three things was what made it, is what is making it so successful.
Mm.
And then if I just go on, we have a lot of other signals as well that you can add, such as technology. Okay, so here you could really, this is through Built With. So HubSpot technology, WordPress, whatever it is that you need, NetSuite, okay, that's another great signal that you only want to contact people that are using a specific technology. For retail clients, it could be Stripe that we have another client that's focused on
Shira, I
payment
mean,
solution. Yep.
we might have some of the listeners not aware of the multiple platforms that you have integrated. Maybe we
Okay,
can go with I mean, what's the first one? What's the second one? What's
sure.
built with? Because we always like tend to fall into this category that we understand each other about what each platform does. So, nevertheless, I think it would be cool, like in 3 minutes summary, like this platform actually does this, and this platform actually does that.
Okay, 100%. Great
Yeah.
point. Yeah. So website visits is coming from SimilarWeb. SimilarWeb tells you how many unique visits are coming to their website each and every month. Okay. And you want to know, many companies want to know how many visits to show how much traffic they're driving to their site, how many users are coming to their site, okay, or customers. This one, as I mentioned, is through Boomerang. This is called company followers and people followers. So we have, for example, Ilya, we can take you. How many followers do you have now on LinkedIn?
7,000, give or take.
Okay. So I actually would love to find the people that are following you, right? And then send them an email and say, hey, I see you follow Ilya. We've actually partnered with Ilya and I just did a webinar with him,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That would be a great use case of this. Or I could do the same for HeyReach and I could say, let me see who's following HeyReach because my campaign would be very focused on who's following you on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Okay. The next one is Built With. Built With can pull specific technologies that companies are using. Okay. It's a technology based tool. So, for example, is a company using HubSpot?
Yeah.
Is a company using Stripe technology? Is a company using WordPress? Okay. And many of our clients need to know that they're using a specific technology in order for them to know that they're going to be relevant for them. Okay. It's
Definitely.
also a great signal as well because you can really hyper personalize your message saying, hey, I see you guys are using Stripe,
Yeah.
right? Perhaps you're looking for another alternative payment solution as an example,
Yes.
right? So it's a really great signal.
Yeah, I
YouTube,
mean,
yep,
imagine this, like about the technology itself. Like, what if you're offering paid advertisement and you see and they don't have a Facebook pixel? I mean, you can consider this like, well, they're not using this because when the question is, well, if they're not using it, do you want to reach out? Or do you want to reach out to someone who actually has applied that Facebook pixel, for instance, for social media ads, and you want to go with a message that goes like, well, how are your ads performing? Now, this
right,
means that you actually done your research. So it's
exactly.
basically the when you have multiple platforms. Now the question is what's relevant, right? And the truth is it's going to be different pieces based on what you're trying to do. So if you do like an SEO agency, then you basically need to use the first enrichment to see how many website visits do they have. If it's below 5,000, well, I believe these people are desperate to actually do something on the SEO side because in combination with Built With that they don't have a pixel, meaning they're not running ads, but they're not doing great on their website. Now this is your time to actually kick off on a meeting with them. So yeah,
Exactly. Or maybe they are running ads, but they have low website visits, which means that their ads aren't converting. And maybe you're a design agency and you want to talk to them about how you can help with their creative, right? So there's so many different combinations of signals that you can use to figure out, and you can run multiple campaigns. So one could be, for example, when they have high website visits, right? And you want to offer, a different solution, or one could be that they have low website visits and they're running Facebook ads, and that's an opportunity for you to help them. So you kind of have to think about which would be the best combination of signals, and also you can run multiple campaigns with different messaging for each one. So you just kind of jump to the we actually do have two things. We have Google Ads Insights on the ad side, which will let you know how many ads they're actually running on Google. If there's 0, then you know that they're not running ads on Google. And if there's 20 or 50, you know they're running a big campaign. And then coming soon is going to be Facebook ads, where you're going to see how much they're actually spending on Facebook, which also gives you a really good indication of their budget, of their marketing budget, right? So if they're spending $50,000 a month, then the likelihood is that they probably could afford your SEO solutions, as an example, because they have that, invested in Facebook. And if you have a solution that you feel can help them improve their ROI from a Facebook ad, this is a great signal for you to have as well. And then just jumping over here, this is pretty simple. So we have a few clients that are offering a content solution. And so they need to know that their users have a YouTube channel, right? And so if you click on this, it'll say the YouTube channel. I don't know if these guys have it, but I'll just do one as an example and let it run while I go through the others. And then you can actually click on their YouTube and it'll take you to their YouTube channel. So you can kind of see, and you could see how many subscribers they have to the channel. So that's also
Shira,
really,
sorry,
yeah,
the way
sorry.
you are describing this, it feels like even if you are running like an SEO or a paid advertisement or brand awareness or branding agency, stuff like that, but you don't have a clue anything about outbound, which pretty much is unrelated one to another, unless like it's like my uncle actually thinks that everything goes under a marketing perspective. So I don't know, but yeah, truth is like there is a market that was existing where you have certain agencies with specific tool set and tool skills that can actually execute on great things, but they are lacking on the business development side of things. And these guys are actually well hiring other agencies to do outbound for them, which is great.
Exactly.
But then again, with this type of technology, well, you're just empowering them so much, which actually means, well, you know everything that you want to know about this prospect, so it doesn't really matter that you know or don't know where to find potential prospects. And then the next question is, how do you want to use this data and what's relevant for you, which is amazing,
Exactly.
honestly.
Exactly. So imagine now you know this is their YouTube channel, this is the number of subscribers they have, and you can really customize your messaging. So again, it looks like you've really researched them, been to their channel, can mention the name, can mention their subscribers, right? So this is a really great signal as well. Yeah, absolutely. And then another one is Instagram followers. Again, once you do this, you can click on, it'll take you to their Instagram page. Another signal that I mentioned earlier is hiring. So this is a really great signal. And it can work for so many different industries. So we have a client, for example, that's doing outsourced development, okay, software development. And we want to know if anybody is currently on Indeed looking for an engineer. And it could be they're looking for a specific Java developer, right? Or it could be that they're looking for a React developer. There's so many that you can look for, and you can actually see very specific jobs, and your message could be focused on, hey, I see that you're hiring a Java, or you're looking to hire, a Java developer. I have a great Java developer that, is ready and just finished a project, whatever it is. It's very, very customized, and you know that there's an intent there because they're actively looking for this.
Sorry,
And then,
sorry to
yeah.
cut you off on this one, but here is like a one practical thing that actually came to my mind to actually address on the audience. Guys, here is the thing. Even if you are overwhelmed by the whole possibilities, like there is a very simple exercise that you need to do. Just go through your current customers or people you have closed recently or people you have worked recently and try to understand why did this person actually started doing business with me? Like, is it their website? Is it their social links? Is it like for what reason I was hired in the first place? Because once you analyze current and past customers, regardless, maybe they have churned, but that's irrelevant. Why did they close? When you have the answer to why did they close, well, basically you just map it out and you will find a pattern. Whether it's their website having too much traffic or not coming from ads or ads not performing, for instance, or hiring or whatever it is, but you will find a pattern which is easy to replicate based on the filters that you can find in SmartReach. So bottom line, like analyze yourself first, and then the next question is how do I effectively utilize this, and that's how you will end up like what's relevant, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And another way that I like to do that as well is when I'm on a call with a prospect that I've booked, okay, through my outreach, I always ask them, so what in my outreach really piqued your interest? what in my LinkedIn message was, got you on this call today? Because I'm sure you get so many LinkedIn messages. And just to hear, well, when you talked about my pain, or when you talked about the fact that you can solve this and this, and then I know, okay, this is something that I really need to hone in on, right? And just talking to them and understanding that really helps you tweak your campaigns as well.
Sorry, I was
Okay.
muted. But yeah, most definitely. Like you have to always validate everything that you are doing. And the way the validation actually happens is through a random conversation. Just have
Yeah.
one specific question. For instance,
Yeah.
I'm going to share like a live personal example. When we were selling HeyRich, we are obviously not really just selling it in a way that made sense for us. But then again, you will notice that at some point, well, this thing will not work out. And then I've popped up a very crucial question is like, what or how does your ideal LinkedIn solution look like? What is missing? What can we add? Stuff like that. So basically, we've validated like the tool, like itself, the platform, where we at and what needs to be done. And the same thing can happen in your outreach. Like, what made you have this meeting with me? And then basically, if they say, well, just because you've mentioned I was a high performing athlete in the past, and then you're okay, great. So research on the person actually, well, this breach actually converted into a meeting. And then you can further analyze like the other elements of the outreach itself.
Exactly. And many times we hear them tell us, well, we have this number of website visitors and we want to get to. So then I know, okay, website visitors is a great signal for me, right? So it's just all about talking and listening. But as you said, also kind of breaking out, okay, when I close my deals, what do they look like? Who are they? I call that actually like reverse engineering. And I look at, okay, what industry are they in? How many employees do they have? How many website visits do they have? Are they hiring? And you can kind of look at the ones that you've already closed to find those signals that might work for you for your prospecting. And I'm just going to throw another one out. It's like we have so many great things built in here. It's hard to I don't have enough time to go through each of them. But another client of ours, for example, can only target ones that have a help center, or they actually have they have a specific product that they want to sell to help centers. Okay, so this is really cool that you can also use a lot of research just based here. Are they hosting a webinar or a live event is another really great one, because if they are, let's say they're hosting a webinar or they have a live event coming up, you can talk to them, for us for example, about helping drive registrations. Like there's so many different campaigns that you can run once you understand more information. And the more targeted, and this is where I get so excited about this, Ilya, for our partnership, is because the more targeted you are and really showing that you've done your research, and you come to a prospect saying, hey, I see that you're hosting a webinar, in the next month, they will be very impressed, and the likelihood that they're going to reply to is going to be so much higher when you come with that information. And that's what makes your connection rates go up and your reply rates go up and your conversion rates go up, when you've shown that you've done the research and they seem like because of that they're going to be relevant, and because of that they have a pain that you can solve, if that makes sense.
Oh no, that makes complete sense. But here is just a heads up for everyone I mean, everyone should feel empowered. This is what you should have always in mind. Just because you have a bridge between who you are and why am I reaching out, first you have to be respectful of that, and then just focus that there is a second step. Reply is great, but nurturing is better because
Yeah.
reply means piqued interest. Nurturing means we're going to have a conversation about XYZ. So that's why it's crucial just to take this, well, this is the crucial part that has to happen for me to generate more business. But then you have the second steps, which is like nurturing, responding, and having a pretty much
Yeah,
a meeting that actually makes sense.
absolutely. Absolutely. And we have, and that's built into the platform on, is the responding, first of all, to get the messaging that keeps, automation. But then we have our team as well that's doing the nurturing for a lot of our clients. So, our full service clients, we're doing nurturing, and a lot of our calls come from the nurturing. It's all about timing. So it might not be relevant for them now, but put them in your list and keep nurturing them, because, I just had a call actually the other day, I think 2 days ago, from someone that we've been nurturing for a year. and I just closed them because the timing was right. So I really think nurturing is so crucial.
Yep, definitely. Explosion to content. I mean, I've had a person like which we didn't do anything 4 months ago, but just because we had a great initial discussion, they whenever it made sense for them, they always come back because there was an impression left in the first place.
Exactly. I always say you're planting a seed, right? You're planting a seed, and if you can keep your relevance and also really understand what their pain is at that point in time. We have many custom like users and clients come to us and say, we're launching a new website. We're not ready to do any type of outbound until then. So it's just about following up and checking, hey, I see you launched your new website, because I'm checking on their website to see that it's new and compliment them on it and make it relevant. That you heard them, right? And that you understand that this was important for them for outreach, for example, and therefore you're following up with them, giving them a congratulations and coming in for the close because the timing is right. So absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'll just mention as well, one of the other ones that I think is really neat, and we're actually running a great campaign for a client in the hemp space. Okay, so
Mhm.
they specifically are targeting stores that are selling hemp across the US, not cannabis. They're very specific. And we're booking about 5 to 10 calls a week for them right now, is using Google Maps because they have a very, very, very niche audience of only store locations in a specific state, in a specific region. And so we're able to do that through the Google Maps integration, where we can pull those, and many times they have their main email, and even though it's not a personal email, it's their store email or their company email. Usually it goes straight to the CEO, so we're having very good results with that. And then we also include their phone number for cold outreach as well.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's a really good signal.
Before you jump into that, I mean, people are always, I have to find the CEO's email and the closest that I can get for that one. But it depends really on who you are targeting. If you are targeting someone who is like in a founder-led sales motion, even their contact email will be seen by the highest ranking person that you can find in that company because they are the ones who are responding to the company emails in the first place. So, about that,
Absolutely.
like when you are validating, did I get the right results? Well, just have in mind, well, you should think about first, if I'm targeting an XYZ person, what type of inbox will they most likely see? So personal accounts on founder-led sales businesses, like, yes, they are your bread and butter. That's where you should start in the first place.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then I would also say this is an integration with Ocean. If you're familiar with Ocean, guys, this is called Company Lookalike and People Lookalike. This also works really well for us and for our users. And that is, take your existing customer base, okay, and say, okay, this is one of my best customers, and then do a company lookalike. It'll find other companies that look like them, that have the same makeup as them. It could be that they're in the same location, they're targeting the same, ICP, they're focused on the same solution. And you can basically, in your messaging, share with them, like, we work with X and we've been able to do this for them. We'd love to be able to do it for you as well. Okay. That really helps because these companies are always looking at their competition and what they're doing and what new solutions they have and how you've been able to lift their results. So this works really well, and it could be a same for a person lookup. Like again, Ilya, I can find other people that look like you, which could be really cool. And that is integrated with Ocean, and that's coming next week.
Okay, I went missing there for a bit. Sorry about that. Probably my screen froze, but you're not seeing me because you're sharing your screen. But yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
I think like this becomes a template, right? On themes that on actions that you should take. So in my opinion, you start off with what's relevant in terms of signals. That can be your past customers, your current customers, your experience overall. Then you replicate that over proper filtering inside of SmartReach in terms of how do you find and replicate the same people. Then, in my opinion, it will be great to use the agent which is inside to further validate, well, okay, so I have a list. I mean, let's make sure that it's the proper list. And then the output of that is, well, I mean, the funnel is actually narrowing, and until you get to a place where this is where you use Ocean to find lookalike audiences, revalidate them, and then you just repeat the process. And that's, I think,
Absolutely.
it's the winning
Yeah.
strategy over here.
Yeah, for sure. I think lookalike audiences can be used in several different ways. So we also use lookalike, like if we're trying to find, who would be the best company followers for us to pull, right? So let me look at other companies that look like who we're targeting, right?
Yeah.
And so there's lots of ways to use lookalike, but it's a great signal. And then you had mentioned earlier the ability to like see who's posting about a specific keyword.
Yeah.
So we're actually partnering with Captain Data on that to pull the posts. So let's say you can plug in a keyword and you could say, I want everyone who's posting about LinkedIn automation.
Yeah.
Okay, just as an example, you can then target them and say, obviously, I saw your post and this is your pain. This is how many website visits, like again, go deeper than just the post. Okay. And show that you've done your research on them. And this is why you're going to solve their pain. This is how you're going to solve their pain. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great point, Shira.
Yeah.
I saw one of the questions inside of our LinkedIn Live, like, well, I
Okay.
think this is the final part of, well, we do
Yes.
understand the logic. How do we actually translate this into a actual outbound message?
Okay, absolutely. So now let me go ahead and kind of share that with you. Um, I just wanted to see you because when I'm sharing, I cannot see you.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. Okay, great. So then we're going to head over to the Smart Link section. So this is where you can create your HeyReach campaign, or actually this is connected through HeyReach. So all HeyReach users, I'll show you basically how this works. So there's two ways that you can do it. You start a new link, Smart Link campaign. You name your campaign. You can either write the messaging yourself, okay? And what the system will do will hyper personalize each and every message, and you can add as many messages as you want, okay? And the other option is that you can do it based on prompts. So you can type in your company description, the pain points that you're solving, some name dropping of clients that you currently work with. What are your strategic advantages and the signal? Like I see that you're hiring SDRs as an example, okay? And then the system will create a hyper personalized message for each one. Oh, sorry. Let me just type something in here. Okay, then you can go and you can actually upload your list. So this is a list coming from Smart Data. I'm just going to pull this list. I think it's only 2 people or 3 people. Okay, so this is just a list that I saved on Smart Data. It pulls all their information that's needed for the Smart Link campaign, so you don't need to do any upload. It pulls it straight from Smart Data. Okay, and then if you're a HeyReach user, it's really, really easy. You click on HeyReach campaign. You can decide if you want to send the default connection request or a hyper personalized LinkedIn request.
Yeah.
Connect, okay. You select, you could see we have a lot of users connected that we manage under our HeyReach campaign. So you can select your person. Let's just select Mika. Then it automatically pulls this from HeyReach. So you're able to just pull your campaign that you want to run, how many messages you'd like to generate in your sequence, your call to action, which is, do you want to book a call? Do you want to book via a calendar link and you want to insert your calendar URL here? Okay, do you want to drive them to your website? There's lots of different call to actions. And you could either do something that's called auto upload to HeyReach. So the system will write the messaging and auto upload it to HeyReach.
Yeah.
And then you click continue and it generates all the messaging. Or you can go back to SmartLink after it's generated. And there's a few really cool features. You can actually click edit and you can edit each message. And when you do that, it teaches the system your writing style. So you can edit and teach it how you like to write, or you can click on this prompt, which will enable you to give it a prompt. So you could say, for example, make it shorter, or don't use these words, okay? And it will, and you can keep tweaking it until you like are really happy with the messaging, because the messaging is very subjective. But again, I always like to say, let the data lead you. And then we also have a learning engine built into this, so it'll learn and automatically optimize based on what's working the best.
I mean,
So
bottom line, if you have all of these intent signals, you just have to lay them out, like what's relevant and what do I want to use in my messaging. But then again, it's over time. Well, if you are continuing to do this manually and just repeat the process all over again, the question is, well, whether you're improving or just giving a better input and then you still have to do the job. So the thing that I love about you guys is that, well, you have a system in place that actually tweaks to the way you want to be communicated on things, because everyone has a tone of voice. Everyone
Yes.
is unique in the terms that they want to be
Yeah.
doing. I mean, some messages, if you go too formal with me, I'd say, well, this is not me. I would never send this message. I would never like to do that. So that's why you need that that input inside of this machine that actually will do things for you in the long run, and the more you give, the better it gets. So that's the type of environment that you really want to be included. But yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And at the same time, like you said, sometimes, especially in a LinkedIn message, the signal is enough, right? So if you build the data and you say, listen, I see that you're following this, or I see that you're hiring, like that's enough to get people to connect with you. First of all, I also find that just sending a regular default connection request works very well. And then you, once they connect, can do the hyper personalization.
Oh yeah, always. Like I've also noticed this in the past, because hyper personalization customers are always trying to do better, and still they cannot beat out like the blank connection request.
Connection request, yeah.
The
And
reason
that,
being is that hyper personalized connection request usually comes when you are one to one on that person's profile, or someone actually recommended you to do XYZ type of connection with that person. Aside from that, it's a blank connection request always. Follow up with your best message once they accept. That's how people will treat, okay, so this person is respective to my time and to the ability that they can, if they, even if they can message me, they choose like for me to give that pretty much acceptance in the first place. So yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And I also follow up with saying, be active on LinkedIn, okay? Post often. It's really important, and comment and engage with people. That's another integration that we're going to be adding soon, is a social warm-up tool that enables you to build your list and then make sure that you're commenting on people's posts before you connect with them. And that makes it so much warmer. It's kind of like warming them up. Then when they see you, they've already seen that you've commented, and they're much more likely to engage with you. So
Absolutely.
that's another, yeah, so that's another integration that we're going to
Um,
be adding shortly. But yeah, I mean, all of this is what makes our Hey Reach campaign successful, and we're offering it to our clients, but we wanted to build it out so that everybody can do it on their own through a very easy, simple, and honestly inexpensive tool. I think
mhm.
one of the other challenges that we've heard from a lot of our users is that, going to purchase, Ocean and Built With and Crunchbase, and
It just adds
it's
up.
very, very expensive,
Yeah.
so having it all on one platform where you only use the tokens that you need, starting at $59. And we actually have a special promotion for Hey Reach users that we'll email everyone after,
Okay.
where they're going to get 50 extra tokens. There's a free trial.
Mhm.
Yeah, and fully integrated with Hey Reach. You just enter in your API and you're connected.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Like, if you're wondering, well, if this thing is so good, it probably cost a fortune. Truth is, no, it will not. It will cost a fortune if you just mess up and trying to do relevant and irrelevant at the same time. It's like getting a bundle of unnecessary information in the first place, and which you should pay money upfront for it. But then again, like for 50 tokens, and I think that Shira, you have under each bracket like how much token does each enrichment cost, right? So
Absolutely.
even if you did like with, I don't know, probably 1,000 tokens, and you enrich a fully properly enriched with four type of enrichments, like four data sets for 1,000 people, that means you will end up with 2,500 people which are fully enriched. This is where you actually create a much better outreach compared to just finding 1,000 people on LinkedIn and start messaging to everyone. Yeah,
Okay.
cool.
You absolutely agreed 100%. And Ilya, what are your thoughts? If maybe we can ask the audience if they have any questions, they can communicate to us via the chat on their LinkedIn or YouTube, wherever they're viewing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we can open up that QA session. Although I don't see the questions, I think that they're on LinkedIn, like some of them, but I didn't find the YouTube one. So let's read them out, and yeah, if there are any, so yeah, we can take it from there.
I could see on the studio chat. So any questions, guys, feel free to ask.
Hmm. Okay,
Okay,
cool.
Great. So somebody is asking about the funding. Okay, yeah. So funding we use through Crunchbase. Um, and basically what the way that it works is that you can just select your users, first find them, and then you could filter out which one of them are funded. It will show you exactly how much funding they closed, and it will also enable you to click on the Crunchbase page and go and see further information as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, feel free to check that out, and that's one token per funding result.
That's what I love about the aggregation itself, because like there's so many databases proving we have a backdoor database of no, you guys don't. Like it was probably scraped once and you don't know what's up. So you did amazing job with aggregating multiple real-time like professionals in what they do best to get the best output opposed to just going one by one and figuring things out, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Oh.
Okay, let's see if there's anything else coming in.
Mm.
Okay, so somebody is writing, how do you know what signal to use? Okay, so I think we kind of covered this, but as
Yeah.
I think Ilya gave a really good tip earlier, which is to go through your closed clients that you have closed through outreach,
Yep.
or just in general through inbound as well, and really understand, what is the quality or criteria of this customer, right? How do you kind of break them down?
Yep.
Do they, what is their makeup? I like to say, and I like to reverse engineer them. And then from there, you could say, okay, you know what? Most of the ones where we close big deals are funded companies, or I'm usually only closing with a CEO or a C level that also has AI technology, right? So you can look at that and see what are the best use cases for you to pull so that you can refine your list based on your existing customer base.
Or if you don't like, or you're not that analytical, just go in front of your customers, especially the ones you're close with, and just ask them, like, what made you work with me? That's all. And have a set of questions like between like,
Right.
okay, you were at and we are at now. And that's pretty much it. Like it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be natural in terms of like how you're communicating with the people that you're working with. So that's how you find the intense signals that can be replicated, right? So yeah, you don't have to think through this, just ask the right question at the right people. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good. And
Cool.
any other questions, feel free to reach out to myself or to Ilya.
Yeah.
And Ilya, thank you so much for joining me on this webinar. This was really fun.
Shira, as always, I enjoyed every minute of it. You did amazingly well. I must congratulate for all the efforts that you guys did over there. Seeing you evaluate
Thank
from like doing an evolution from let's just message people that with AI to let's just
Yeah.
source data that is relevant. It's really the game changer over here, really.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited to have the HeyReach users, take advantage of it and increase their performance and their results with it. So that just makes me so excited to see that.
Absolutely, guys. Give it a try. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? You can do a better campaign. I mean, that's the worst thing that can happen. Cool. Thank you, Shira. Thanks for everyone
Thank
joining
you.
and yeah, having an hour with us, really. Cool.
Okay, take care, everyone. Have a great
Bye.
Thursday.
Bye.
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 Okay.